Hello and welcome to this restorative prenatal class. So in true restorative fashion, I'm going to invite you to grab as many props as you'd like. I have 4 blocks, a strap, a blanket, and 3 bolsters. If you don't have any of these at home, you can make do with whatever you can find. So bed pillows, couch cushions, towels, blankets, books, a belt, anything to support your body as you rest into these postures. And so the intention for this class is really to give you the time and the space to drop in, to rest and reflect and feel into the magic and the expansion that is happening within you. We're going to start in Hero's posture. So I like to fold my blanket and use the blanket underneath my seat. Coming forward onto hands and knees. You can take your knees a little bit wider, about hips distance apart. And then I like to bring the blanket just above the heels to give my seat a little bit of a lift. And when we sit in Hero's pose like this, it is a nice way to ease any tension and swelling in the legs. And we're going to take the arms over the head, interlace the fingers, and reach the palms to the sky. And right away here, you may notice that the ribs start to flare open and the belly starts to push forward, the lower back may arch, which is already a posture that we find ourselves in often as the belly grows. So start to lengthen the tailbone down towards the heels and stretch long from hips all the way up through the side body and through the wrists, floating the eyes closed. And taking a few breaths here. With every inhale, filling up the side body and the space between the ribs with your breath. And every exhale, feel the shoulders glide down the back and the sides of the waist soften. So inhale, filling up the side body. Exhale, feel everything soften as you maintain a sense of length through the spine. We'll take 3 more rounds of breath like that. Last inhale here, and exhale, open the arms to the sides, stretch the palms down, reach through the fingers, and relax the hands towards the side body. Then we're going to take Gomukhasana arms. So reach the left arm up towards the sky, bend the elbow, and draw the hand down towards the back of the neck. And then turn the right palms to face back and draw the arm behind the back, bending the elbow. And if you can take the interlace of the fingers and find the bind, feel free to do that. You can also reach for your strap if that's not available to you, or take a hold of your shirt, or just let the hands rest where they are. And as you inhale, again, lengthen the tailbone towards your heels so that the lower back remains long and wide. And as you exhale, imagine the arm bones reaching in opposite directions. So this arm sequence can also be really nice postpartum, especially as we spend a lot of time holding and feeding our baby, and we tend to curl the shoulders forward, and the upper back and the front of the chest becomes quite concaved. So this is a great way to keep the chest and the shoulders open and flexible. Take one more in-breath. And then exhale to release the arms, switching sides. So your left arm comes down, your right arm goes up. Inhale to reach the arms long, and exhale, bending the elbows. Maybe finding that bind, interlacing the fingers. You may notice quite a difference from side to side, or you may not, but adjust accordingly if you need to use a strap or something to support your bind. If you're taking that, please honor that. And again, even here, just notice if your ribs want to pop open, your belly wants to move forward. And see if you can draw into your back body. So your ribs start to draw in towards your midline. Your lower back lengthens towards your feet. And with every inhale, get nice and tall. And every exhale, feel the arm bones expand in opposite direction. And we'll take one more in-breath. And then exhale to release the arms and unwind. You may want to take a few shoulder rolls here. Moving in both directions. And then the last part of this shoulder sequence is we're going to take either reverse prayer or opposite elbow. So if you have the flexibility, you're going to bring the hands behind you and start to draw the palms together and find prayer pose with the hands behind the back. If that's too much for you, you can take a hold of your forearms or reach for your elbows. Something that is really important in this restorative practice is remembering that less is more. And so we don't have to find a really deep stretch. It's more about giving the body the support to soften into an opening. And the more relaxed we can stay and ease-filled it feels, the more magic that happens. I'm currently nursing a shoulder injury, and so while I can take the reverse prayer, it actually feels much better to simply hold opposite elbow and feel the expansion through the collarbones, a very gentle stretch through the front of the shoulders, and even an opening through the space between the shoulder blades, all the way up through the back of the neck. Take one more in-breath. exhale, releasing whatever variation you have. And we'll come on to hands and knees. So for this next posture, you can take it on the ground if that feels good to you. We're coming into puppy's pose. I'm also going to invite you to use some bolsters. So in the Spinning Babies recommendations for bringing baby into optimal position, especially if you're a little bit later in your pregnancy and baby is not head down quite yet, it can be really helpful to come into this with the knees elevated. So you can do that on stairs, you can do it on a low bed or a low couch, but I'm going to show you how you can also do it with the support of some cushions or some bolsters. So I'm going to stack 2 bolsters, and then I'm also going to bring 2 blocks behind the bolsters to support the feet. You can even lie a blanket over the blocks for some extra padding. And again, you can totally do this on the floor as well. It's not going to give the same exact elevation through the pelvis, but you'll still get a lot of the benefits. So then you're going to come on to the bolsters if you're setting up in this way. And the hips are going to stay high. And make your way onto forearms. And especially if you're trying to move baby into optimal position, it's great to do this pose 30 to 45 seconds a day, even longer. Once you make your way, you can let the head relax. So this is a really nice way to untwist and unwind any of the ligaments or tension in the uterus and the cervix, creating more space in the lower pelvis, which then gives your baby more room to snuggle into its ideal position of head down. Can also help to reduce back pain, hip pain, even tailbone pain. By broadening the lower pelvis and the lower back. And because it is a gentle inversion as well, it can feel very relaxing to the mind. You could even walk the elbows forward. Rest the forehead on the ground if that feels good. Taking another deep inhale here, and a full exhale. Very slowly lifting the head, coming back onto your hands. And gently making your way off of your props if you're on them. And then from here, we're going to come into supported child's pose. So I'm going to use 2 blocks for this, as well as a bolster and a blanket. And one block can come on its middle height at the top of your mat. And then the second block can come perpendicular, long ways in the center of your mat. And then we'll bring our bolster to rest on top of the blocks. And you just want to make sure the top of your bolster is supported with the block so that your head doesn't hang off the bolster, especially if your bolsters are a bit thinner. And then I like to use a blanket, either folded up or rolled, for extra head support at the top of the bolster. So taking the knees nice and wide, bring the toes to touch. And you can leave a little bit of space between the bolster and your belly so that the belly has room to relax. And then bring either hand on the sides of your bolster. Take an inhale, lengthen through the spine. And as you exhale, gently walk yourself forward and resting either cheek to the bolster or your blanket, relaxing the arms and allowing yourself to lean into the support. So child's pose can be another way to encourage the pelvic canal to broaden. Also may help to relieve tension in the hips and the groin. Relaxes the low back through a lengthening of the spine. And if your head is turned in one direction, we'll switch sides to give the opposite side of the neck a chance to relax and stretch. I also got rid of my blanket as pillow support and brought it forward to rest my hands upon. So making any adjustments that feel appropriate for you to relax even further into the pose. beginning to deepen your breath. And drawing the palms of the hands to the ground and pressing yourselves up nice and slow, allowing the head to be the last thing to rise. Once you make your way to your seat, just take a moment to pause here and allow that to settle. And you can leave your props set up how they are. I'm actually going to add one more bolster to this setup for the next one, just for a little bit more height. These bolsters are a little bit thinner, so you can adjust accordingly. And then you'll also need your strap. So making a loop with your strap on your belt, and you just want it to be positioned that if you pull on the loop, the belt buckle doesn't slide. It's nice and tight. And then you'll draw that over your head and around your waist. So you want it to be nice and low, so it supports the back of the pelvis, your sacrum, and your lower back is free. And then bring the soles of the feet together. Knees open wide and Baddha Konasana legs. And you'll take the other end of the loop and reach it over the tops of the feet. And so it wraps around the tops of the feet and the ankles. And it might also be nice to have the blanket or towel for extra head support. You can also rest it on the feet. It gives a nice grounding sensation to the body by having the feet have a little bit of weight on them. And then you can adjust how it feels good for you, either having the bolsters pressed up to the lower back, or if it's nicer to have a little bit of space between, you can feel how that is and try that as well. And then very slowly, using your hands to support yourselves, you're going to start to lean back and rest on the bolsters. Bringing the arms to the sides, palms to face up. Receiving a very gentle opening through the front of the chest and the shoulders. This also gives a nice opening both vertically and horizontally for the pelvis. Especially if you're feeling a little bit more weight in the pelvis, this can be a really great way to alleviate that, offering a bit more space. Also gives the diaphragm a bit more room, which can help the breathing feel more spacious, which especially towards the later part of pregnancy is you start to feel more constricted with room as the baby grows and the internal organs feel more compressed. This can offer a bit more opening and ease through the torso. And as you take a few more breaths here, with every exhale, see if you can allow yourself to lean into the support of your props beneath. Imprinting this sensation of being supported in both mind and body for you and your baby. Not only throughout the remainder of your pregnancy, but also as you move into your labor and birth experience. You may find too, as you relax into this posture and create more space and ease, that your baby starts to move around and say hello. And if so, and it feels good, to give your baby in your belly a little rub. Have just another few breaths here to do so. And then we'll bring our hands to the outer thighs. Use the strength of the arms to help lift your legs back up. As you do that, you may want to unhook the strap from the feet. And rather than trying to come straight up from here, just roll over to your left side and gently press yourself up. So if you'd like to unhook that strap off of your lower body, you can. And then we're going to come into a gentle twist. So I'm actually going to do this with a bolster between my legs. And you can stay elevated on the blocks, or if you want to remove the blocks, you can do that as well. I think I'm going to remove mine, but play with what feels good. So keeping one bolster or pillow long ways on the mat. And then I'm going to take a second bolster between the legs. So ideally you want both the knee and the ankle supported here. And we can do twists in pregnancy as long as we're not compressing through the belly. So you want to think of keeping your belly nice and open so that the baby has some space. You can draw the bolster up towards the outer left hip and then bring hands on either side of the bolster. Inhale to lengthen here. And again, you don't have to twist your belly towards the bolster. You can keep it open to the side. And then as you exhale, slowly walk yourself forward and resting more the left ribs and the left side body onto the bolster. I like to bring my hands underneath the bolster and bend the elbows and rest the head, keeping the gaze and the knees in the same direction so it's nice and gentle. And doing these gentle twists throughout pregnancy can be a nice way to unwind any points of tension or tightness along the spine, keeping the entire spinal column supple and flexible. Which in turn can relieve back strain. Just taking a moment to scan the body and notice if there's any areas that feel as though they're holding on or gripping. And see if with your attention and intention you can encourage those points to relax, to let go. Taking one more full cycle of breath. And then inhale, pressing into the arms, drawing yourself back up. And we'll switch sides. So taking your time to set up with the knees over to the right, either stacking knees, or if you'd like the extra support of the bolster or pillow, bring that between the legs. And then drawing the right outer hip up to the bolster. One hand on either side of your bolster, and then inhale to lengthen. And exhale, folding down. Again, think of resting more the right rib cage and the right side body onto the bolster. The right cheek rests. If you'd like to bring the hands underneath the bolster to create a little bit of elevation for the head. And setting yourself up to comfortably drop in here for about a minute or two. Once again, just becoming aware of any points of tension. And see if through awareness and breath, you can encourage those areas to soften. Excuse me. Deepening the breath here. And drawing the hands on either side of the bolster, pressing down, using the strength of the arms to lift yourself back up and unwind. So the next posture we're going to do is a wide-legged forward seated fold. So this is another one I like to have quite a few props for. So taking your legs wide, you don't have to go to the fullest expression of this posture. I like to do about 70% or so in more of a restorative variation. And then I'm going to bring 2 blocks in front of me. You may even stack more blocks if you want some extra height. And then from there, I'm going to bring a bolster across the blocks. You can even stack a second bolster if you'd like, or a blanket. Okay, you can also even bring another block on top of the bolster and rest the blanket on that for head support. Adjust as you go into this. Again, you just want to feel supported and like you can just melt into the posture. And so you don't have to keep your legs active for this one. You can allow the legs and the feet to relax. Inhaling, sitting up nice and tall. And then exhale, begin to fold forward. And again, we're not going for the deepest, stretchiest variation of this pose. We're just finding something that we can relax into, receiving a little bit of opening through the body. And it's through that gentle opening that the restoration happens. And once you find your position, ideally with the head supported, giving yourself a few moments here to drop in. And this is a great posture to increase mobility in the hips and the groin, It also tones the pelvis. Anytime we fold inwards in our yoga postures, it's an offering to bow in towards our own heart, to look within and receive wisdom from our inner self. Taking just a few more breaths here. And on your next inhale, slowly draw yourself up to a seat. Stacking the head over the heart over the womb, and allowing yourself to integrate. So we're going to close with legs up the wall. We'll take this as our Shavasana. So you can move all your blocks off to the side if you have them. Feel free to use the hands to support the legs. And I'm going to use the bolster to support my back. So if you are going to take this variation, you want to have a little bit of space between your wall and your bolster. And so what we're going to do is bring yourself closer to the wall, and you're going to sit up on your bolster or your pillow. Come onto your forearms, and wiggle your way into your position. And rest the upper body on the ground. You can bring the feet to the wall. You can even press into the wall to slide the bolster up. And so you want your pelvis, your hips, to tilt just slightly forward towards the ground. So your seat's kind of floating off of the mat. And the bolster, the pillow, is supporting your lower back. And you can bring your arms to the side. I like to take cactus arms here to get that gentle stretch one more time through the upper body. Let's inhale deeply through the nose and exhale, sigh in through the mouth. Great posture to increase circulation in the legs, relieve fatigue, while also promoting deep relaxation to mind and body. One of my favorites to do before bed. And just giving yourself a few minutes to fully rest. Imagine every cell in your body restoring, replenishing, and receiving whatever it needs to feel fully vital. And if you have the ability to stay here for a few minutes, or as long as you'd like, please take the time to do that. If not, you can slowly draw the heels down and bring the soles of the feet to the wall, giving yourself a moment to allow all of that blood and lymph and circulation to return to the feet. And gently rolling over to your left side. And taking your time to find a comfortable seat. And whether you've stayed and legs up the wall or you've made your way out, simply take a moment here to check in. Notice how you feel. Hopefully feeling nice and relaxed. restored, and taking this feeling into the remainder of your day, whether you are drifting off to sleep or carrying on through your morning or afternoon. I hope this class leaves you feeling refreshed. Namaste.